The independence of India were small revolutions that were carried out thanks to Mahatma Gandhi between the years 1942 to 1947. Due to the great efforts of India, we will try to explain how India managed to become independent from Great Britain and one of the most important characters of India that contributed to a pacifist movement that defined the exit of the British of India. The British had settled in 1619, but it wasn't not until 1757 that the army defeated the Mughal Empire. From that moment, the British had been in the Indian territory for more than 100 years. Due to ethnic and cultural differences, in addition to the violence and racism that were beginning to be seen in these countries, he was the provocateur of a rebellion that grew little by little. The arrival of Gandhi was a great factor in the independence of India. Non-violence is the greatest force at the disposal of humanity. The movement known as Bharat Chodo Andolan, which means Leave India, it was done through the National Congress Party. This was very important because Great Britain was busy with the World War, while the Indians sought to get the British out of India. During World War II, the Congress had agreed to help the Britain, but this agreement was rejected by calling for Indian independence. If the British did not comply with the demand, India would be in general disobedience. Leave India, it was used in Bombay, one of the most popular cities in India. They were instructed to act as an independent nation and not obey the orders of the British. The British were alarmed by the Japanese advance into Burma. Upon learning, the British responded by imprisoning Gandhi in the Aga Khan Palace. Those from the party commit were also arrested, and the party ended up dissolving. How do you think the Indians responded? The protests only multiplied. Although not everything was peaceful. Bombs exploded, buildings were burned, there was no electricity or transportation. The British continued with mass arrests and public beatings. The Congress were incommunicated for 3 years. Due to the bad treatment of the British, Gandhi's wife passed away, as his secretary did too. Gandhi's health deteriorated, but with his superhuman strength, Gandhi managed to go 21 days without eating. He was released in 1944 due to his poor health, but he kept fighting for the release of all the people who were part of the committee. The war was over for Great Britain. The current shortage of economic, political, and military resources was a decisive factor for India. The will of the British government was broken. The Indians did not stop resisting, in addition to this being further insisted after the war. The British could no longer support India's repressive regime, which led to the British being willing to negotiate the independence of India. Then, of course, the independence was achieved on August 15 of 1947. In conclusion, the independence of India, together with Gandhi protest movement, functioned as an example for the creation of other movements. It was a decisive factor that led to their victory. It took place in the right place and time. They took advantage of the fact that Great Britain would be busy with the war. If it had not been carried out during those moments, the chances of India having its independence would have been nil. They really showed that non-violence is the great force of the disposal of humanity. It's more powerful than the most powerful weapon of destruction devised by the unity of men.